Today we are going to study pollination and types of pollination. Pollination means the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a carpel. Pollen grains are non-motile, so they are carried from flower to flower by different external agents. And these external agents such as wind, water and biotic agents like insects. Pollination is important and or prerequisite step for fertilization because these two types of gametes produced at different sites. When pollination takes place afterwards, the male gamete develops on the stigma of a flower and then transferred to female gamete for fertilization. So it is essential and important step for fertilization. Next, types of pollination. First, self-pollination. It is a type of pollination which occurs in a single flower or another flower of a same plant. And second type, cross-pollination. It is a transfer of anther of one flower to another flower at different flowers produced on different plants. There are three types of pollination based on sources of pollination. First, autogamy. Auto means self pollination. The transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma of a same flower called as a autogamy. Generally, it occurs in bisexual flower, example pea plant. This autogamy produces a progenies which are having the similar characters. For this self-pollination, some conditions are present in some plants. Some flower opens to expose its sex organs. It is called as a chasmogamous because they are mature at the same time. In some plants, homogamy conditions are present. Homogamy means when anther and stigma of a flower become mature at the same time, called homogamy. In some flowers, self-pollinated even before opening of flower means when flower is in closed condition, thus pollination takes place, and this condition is called as a cleistogamy. These all conditions, chasmogamous, homogamy and cleistogamy, this prefers for autogamy or self-pollination in some plants. It also having the different types. Second type of pollination called as a geitonogamy. Geiton means neighboring. It is the transfer of pollen grains to stigma of a different flower produced on the same flower. It also requires some external agencies but having the same variety or can produce only same variety. Geiton means neighboring. If you take example of Cucurbitaceae family, Cucurbita maxima, this plant shows unisexual flower. So there is a transfer of pollen grains from male flower to another flower which having the stigma or carpel structure. This is the geitonogamy. Geiton means neighboring. Plant is same but flower is different. Next type, xenogamy or cross pollination or outbreeding. It is a type of pollination which occurs when the transfer of anther to stigma of another flower produced on another or different plant belonging to closely related species or belonging to same species. Here the species is same but the plant and flower is different, called as a xenogamy. Here external agencies are required. It may be wind, water or insects. External agencies are required but when the different variety, the pollination takes place in different varieties. If you take example of cotton or wheat like variety, when the pollination takes place in different varieties, the offsprings will be having the different characters. Varied offsprings will be formed. This is the xenogamy produced present in different plants. So the variation of characters takes place. Most of the plant having this variation of characters in different plants.